All right, an update now on Pope Francis, who has been hospitalized for 13 days now for pneumonia.
Have you heard the shocking news about Pope Francis? Rumors are swirling that something big is brewing in Rome, and it could change the church forever. The partnership of Pope Francis and Luis Tagle is legendary, but fresh reports claim a dramatic twist is on the horizon. Some say Tagle might become the next big name to watch. Others worry about pushback from critics. Are you absolutely ready to uncover the secret that has everyone talking right now? Cardinal Tagle's rise. Cardinal Luis Antonio. Tagle's rise within the Catholic Church has been marked by humility, service, and a passion for reaching ordinary people. Born in the Philippines, he quickly gained a reputation for his gentle style and focus on grassroots ministry. When he became Archbishop of Manila, many were struck by his hands-on approach, spending time in slum areas and comforting disaster victims. That personal touch, guided by empathy, set him apart from more traditional church figures. Tagle's reputation soared after his response to Typhoon Haiyan in 2013. He not only dispatched aid but visited affected communities, holding hands with survivors and sharing their grief. This commitment to direct engagement earned him loyal followers and attracted attention from Pope Francis, who saw echoes of his own ideals in Tagle's leadership. By appointing Tagle as prefect of the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples in 2019, Pope Francis highlighted his trust in Tagle's ability to inspire believers across continents. The role, often called the Red Pope, oversees missionary efforts in essential growth regions such as Asia and Africa. Many see this position as a key step toward even greater responsibilities. While some traditionalist forces worry about Tagle's progressive stance, he remains dedicated to building paths of understanding and compassion. His track record suggests a leader who believes in active listening, modern outreach, and a church that welcomes everyone. Whether he eventually ascends to the highest office or not, Cardinal Tagle's rise continues to signal a fresh wave of hope, unity, and service in the modern Catholic world. He remains deeply significant worldwide. Pope Francis and Tagle's shared vision. Pope Francis and Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle share a vision centered on service, humility, and empathy toward those on the margins. From the start of his papacy, Francis made it known he envisioned a church open to everyone, especially the poor. In Tagle, he sees a fellow advocate who believes in reaching out through dialogue, compassion, and acts of justice. While Francis aims to move beyond mere tradition, Tagle has done the same in Manila and within the Vatican. They replace top-down authority with listening and personal contact, signaling a shift toward a more grounded faith. Together, they model leadership defined not by power, but by mercy, sparking a renewed perspective on what it means to be church. Their shared approach is grounded in the belief that the mission of the church must echo Christ's love for humanity. Pope Francis regularly challenges fellow clergy to leave behind comfort and go among the people, while Tagle mirrors this duty by immersing himself in local hardships, from the slums of Manila to remote communities worldwide. Both men champion simpler lifestyles, focusing on prayer, compassion, and genuine friendship rather than formality. Their vision also extends to interfaith dialogue, seeking unity across religious lines. Despite resistance from more traditional sectors, they continue to make the church more relevant by addressing pressing issues like poverty, climate change, and migration. By placing mercy over judgment, Pope Francis and Cardinal Tagle invite all believers to see faith as a living act of service. In doing so, they redefine how the church engages with our evolving, diverse world. Speculation about Tagle's future. Speculation about Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle's future is intensifying across the global Catholic community. Ever since Pope Francis appointed him as prefect for the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples, many have wondered if Tagle could be the next face of a rapidly evolving church. His heartfelt approach and grassroots focus mirror Pope Francis's own ideals, prompting talk that he might step into an even more influential role. Yet uncertainty remains. Traditionalists question whether Tagle's progressive style might disrupt centuries-old doctrines, while supporters applaud his willingness to engage with modern social issues. He famously led relief efforts in disaster-stricken regions, shaping an image of a church rooted in real-life struggles rather than distant authority. Some Vatican insiders point to Cardinal Pietro Parolin, known for his diplomatic expertise, as a more conservative alternative. For Tagle, rising beyond his current position could mean guiding the Church toward expanded outreach in Asia and Africa, communities where Catholicism still flourishes. However, ongoing tensions between reformers and traditionalists create obstacles for any swift transition. Pope Francis has not publicly named a successor, leaving significant room for debate. Still, Tagle's supporters believe his genuine empathy, theological insight, and unwavering dedication could reshape the papacy. Others argue that a more moderate leader would offer reassurance in uncertain times. While it remains unclear how Vatican politics will unfold, Cardinal Tagle's evolving role continues to spark fascination worldwide. For now, Catholics watch closely, debating whether his compassionate leadership will become the defining hallmark of the Church's future. The outcome could determine whether he becomes a transformative figure forever remembered. Tagle's global influence. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle has emerged as a key figure bridging cultural divides while shaping the Catholic Church's expanding global reach. Born in the Philippines, he quickly became well known for his ability to connect with everyday people, highlighting compassion over formality. This approach resonates strongly with Pope Francis's own ideals, placing Tagle at the forefront of missions extending across Asia, Africa, and Latin America. As prefect of the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples, sometimes called the Red Pope, Tagle oversees vast missionary efforts that reach millions. His gentle, listening style invites dialogue even in areas facing religious or cultural strife, emphasizing that the Church should adapt to local realities rather than impose rigid structures. This inclusive mindset has garnered admiration worldwide, particularly in communities where Catholicism is steadily growing. Beyond these missionary roles, Tagle promotes social justice initiatives, advocating for refugees and the poor. By partnering with global relief organizations, he stresses the Church's duty to respond to crises of poverty and displacement. His leadership of Caritas Internationalis showcased how faith can inspire tangible action on hunger and inequality. Not only does he bring compassion to the global forefront, Tagle also encourages respect for diverse cultures. By embracing dialogue with leaders of other faiths, he highlights the shared responsibility all religions hold in promoting peace. Tagle's leadership style. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle leads with empathy, humility, and a heartfelt commitment to serving ordinary people. Unlike leaders who stay distant from their flock, Tagle goes straight into communities, visiting slums, comforting disaster victims, and genuinely listening to their stories. This hands-on approach has shaped his leadership style, reflecting a simple yet powerful belief: authority is best exercised by serving those in need. When Typhoon Haiyan struck the Philippines in 2013, Tagle's response became a notable example of his compassionate leadership. He organized relief efforts, but more importantly, he showed up personally, sitting among survivors and offering words of hope. By prioritizing presence and connection, he underscored how leaders can inspire trust and unity simply by being close to the people they serve. Tagle also champions an inclusive view of the Church, encouraging open dialogue rather than imposing top-down directives. He speaks about complex religious matters in an approachable manner, ensuring that faith remains accessible to everyday Catholics. This inclusive stance extends to his efforts in interfaith outreach, where he believes in finding common ground across religious lines. Critics sometimes view his focus on compassion as a move away from strict tradition, but Tagle maintains that authentic church leadership must address real-world struggles. He blends genuine warmth with a strong commitment to Catholic teachings, insisting that faith and service are inseparable. Traditionalist resistance. Despite the blossoming partnership between Pope Francis and Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, not everyone shares their progressive outlook. Traditionalist factions within the Church see their openness to reform, especially on issues like climate change, poverty relief, and interfaith dialogue, as a break from the Church's long-standing customs. They argue that focusing too heavily on social concerns dilutes core doctrine and undermines fundamental teachings. This rising tension is evident in how Tagle's personal warmth and grassroots focus resonate with some believers, yet unsettle others who value formality and hierarchical order. Often referred to as traditionalist resistance, These concerns reflect a fear that the Church's ancient structures could be overshadowed by new priorities. Leaders like Cardinal Pietro Parolin, admired for his diplomatic skill and adherence to established authority, represent a contrasting voice in the ongoing debate. They maintain that without a strong grounding in tradition, the Church risks losing its identity. Moreover, critics point to Pope Francis's emphasis on transparency and financial reform as potentially destabilizing, especially when it uncovers hidden or questionable practices within the Vatican. For Cardinal Tagle, navigating such opposition requires balancing compassion with a respect for Catholic doctrine. He remains firm that serving marginalized communities and making faith accessible to the poor must guide Church leadership in modern times. His stance mirrors Pope Francis's call for unity, love, and humility, but it also highlights the deep divide that faces the Church. A church for the marginalized. One of Pope Francis's most defining themes has been his call for a church for the marginalized, encouraging everyone to prioritize compassion over rigid traditions. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle has fully embraced this goal, reflecting a deep concern for the poor, the homeless, and those often forgotten by society. Through direct involvement in disaster relief and outreach, Tagle sends a clear signal that faith should be practiced among the people, not just preached behind closed doors. In line with Pope Francis's emphasis on social justice, Tagle has promoted programs that provide food, shelter, and urgent care to those in need. He believes that faith cannot remain distant from modern struggles, and that the Church is called to break down barriers, welcoming everyone regardless of background or status. By championing empathy and solidarity, Tagle and Francis represent a dynamic force for change within the Catholic Church. Still, critics caution that focusing too heavily on social causes might overshadow core Catholic teachings. Yet Pope Francis and Tagle argue that service lies at the heart of the gospel, and that loving our neighbors means actively fighting injustice. Their aim is not to disregard tradition, but to ensure the Church remains relevant and accessible to the faithful, especially those who feel excluded in a rapidly changing world. Potential papal rivalry. The Catholic Church is abuzz with rumors of a potential rivalry between Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle and Cardinal Pietro Parolin. Both share a deep devotion to the Church, yet their paths diverge in style and vision. Tagle emphasizes closeness to everyday believers, championing outreach to the marginalized and placing compassion above protocol. Known for his warmth and engagement, he has drawn admiration from those who favor a more personal approach to leadership. Meanwhile, Parolin operates at the core of Vatican diplomacy, prizing structure and tradition. His supporters highlight his vast administrative insight, seeing him as a careful guardian of Catholic continuity. Pope Francis's trust in Tagle, shown by giving him a prestigious missionary role, has led to speculation about Tagle's higher ambitions. Many hope his personal touch could invigorate an evolving Church. Yet the more traditional side wonders if Tagle's approach risks diluting ancient teachings. At the same time, Parolin's steady guidance appeals to those concerned about far-reaching reforms. Some see him as a safe pair of hands, expertly handling complex global challenges without rocking the boat. While there is no open conflict, tensions simmer behind the scenes. Each leader represents different philosophies. One aims for a bold shift to keep pace with modern realities, while the other champions cautious stewardship. This perceived rivalry encapsulates the broader struggle between change and tradition. As Catholics worldwide watch in anticipation, the question remains: which vision will shape the Church's future? And could this subtle competition determine the next papal direction? Time will reveal whether one emerges as the guiding force of Catholicism. Tagle's interfaith advocacy. Tagle's commitment to interfaith advocacy has made him a figure in bridging divides among diverse religious communities. The Catholic Church holds a unique place in global society, and Tagle recognizes that collaboration can lead to enduring solidarity. He focuses on personal encounters, believing that true dialogue begins with listening to others' experiences and acknowledging their dignity. By prioritizing open communication with leaders from Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, and other faiths, Tagle fosters an atmosphere of mutual respect. One of the ways Tagle works toward interfaith understanding is by encouraging programs that address shared social issues. He believes that communities, regardless of their beliefs, can unite in helping the poor, caring for the environment, and welcoming refugees. Through these common efforts, barriers fall, and genuine friendship can grow. In many settings, Tagle has highlighted how religions share moral values, such as compassion, love, and justice. By focusing on points of agreement rather than differences, he demonstrates that interfaith engagement can be productive and healing. Critics argue that emphasizing collaborative efforts diverts from important theological distinctions, but Tagle asserts that open conversation does not compromise core beliefs. Instead, it enhances understanding and fosters respect. As Cardinal Prefect overseeing missionary work, Tagle has taken interfaith dialogue beyond simple courtesy visits. He encourages ongoing conversations, joint projects, and shared worship spaces when possible. This approach aligns with Pope Francis's call for a more inclusive church, showing that unity in action can transcend doctrinal walls. Tagle's advocacy has proven that when people come together over common causes, faith can be a force for true global cooperation. A historic moment for the Church. Pope Francis's support for Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle has sparked excitement within the Catholic Church. By recognizing Tagle's work in Manila and giving him a Vatican role, Francis signaled a fresh path for church leadership. This shift suggests compassion, humility, and closeness to everyday struggles are now central to the global vision. The possibility of Tagle rising further shines a spotlight on places once seen as far from Rome. It shows a church ready to adapt, honor diverse cultures, and speak boldly about social concerns. Many call this moment historic because it shifts focus away from traditional centers and welcomes voices from Asia, Africa, and Latin America. By embracing these perspectives, Francis highlights a dynamic future. This transition is not only about two figures, but also about the Church's direction. By stressing service and outreach, the Church aligns leadership with real needs in cities and remote villages. Tagle's path mirrors this mission. He has shown a down-to-earth style, bridging gaps and offering hope to many. As the Church moves ahead, it faces debates about tradition, reform, and global outreach. Yet Francis and Tagle share a vision of unity, urging all Catholics to practice mercy and dialogue. In this light, the current era marks a historic moment, with the Church welcoming voices once overlooked and inspiring believers worldwide through a faith shaped by ground-level realities.
After a viral speech given during the annual International Marian Festival, Cardinal Luis Tagle found himself in yet another controversy. From wild accusations of using Pope Francis to gain more popularity to being secretly elected as Pope without the world knowing, it seems the once beloved Cardinal is now hated by everybody. So much so that he had to address these rumors in a recent interview.
In this issue, but in other issues as well.
What was his response to these allegations, and what are his thoughts on becoming the new Pope? Join us as we reveal all he said in this interview. Addressing the rumors and allegations. On January 10, 2025, Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle delivered a powerful speech during the annual International Marian Festival. This was a big moment for the Cardinal Bishop, as the role he played on that day was one some people believed should be reserved only for Pope Francis, even though it wasn't the first time. Because of this, many thought Luis was on his way to becoming the next leader, especially with ongoing news of the current Pope struggling with various health conditions. Some claimed that Luis was already appointed by Pope Francis as the next leader, implying that his current role as Red Pope meant he was just one step away from leading the entire Catholic Church. Some couldn't tell the difference between his role as the Red Pope with that of the Supreme Leader, while others accused the Bishop Cardinal of only supporting Pope Francis out of ambition. They used the speech he allegedly gave in place of the Pope as proof of that. But while these accusations were shocking to many, his response was just as surprising. To address these rumors and allegations, just a few days after the historic Marian celebration, the Bishop Cardinal had a private talk with delegates from Vatican media where he spoke about various issues like synodism and what people have said concerning the role he played during the festival. During that talk, the Bishop Cardinal made it clear that he isn't the current Pope and is also not planning to become one anytime soon. He further addressed the confusion about his current role by stating he is only known as the Red Pope because he is in charge of mission territories in Asia and Africa, but that doesn't mean he is the global leader of the Catholic Church. Just like the current Black Pope is the current head of the Jesus Society, but is also not the global leader of the Catholic Church. As for his relationship with Pope Francis, Luis revealed that it has never been out of ambition, as their friendship lasted long before either of them could even dream of becoming the Pope. Here is all he said. How he met Pope Francis. Based on all he revealed to Vatican media, Luis first met the current Pope on the 19th of April 2005, shortly after the meeting of cardinals that voted Pope Benedict XVI. After the meeting, they spoke for a short while, and that was how they became friends. But being his usual self during the discussion, Luis went all the way back to his early years in the late 50s. Born in the Philippines to a very religious home, his parents, Manuel and Milagros, were very devoted to what they believed. According to Luis, his parents were so devoted that they would not agree with most of the progressive things he stands for today. Though he wasn't as religious as his parents, what made him stand out from most other children was that he loved reading. Ironically, this made him a lot more informed about the Catholic faith from a young age compared to other children who were far more devoted than he was. But here was the twist. The big difference was that he didn't want to serve in the church, but rather dreamed of becoming a doctor. Because of this, he started reading difficult science journals at 13. But as he grew older, many things he learned didn't seem to add up. The famous theories of evolution on their own didn't make sense to him, because as far as he knew, something had to be the driving force behind it. As a professing Catholic, part of him believed it was God, but he couldn't prove it yet. To get more answers, Luis abandoned his dream of becoming a doctor by choosing to study philosophy at Ateneo de Manila University. All the philosophical arguments he came across and studied seemed to point toward God, so to make more sense of it, he went on to study theology at the Catholic University of America. During this time, he found fulfillment in serving his local church, and on February 27, 1982, thanks to his hard work, he was ordained as a priest by Bishop Felix Perez in Imus, Cavite. Thanks to his deep understanding of Christian philosophy and theology, Luis became known for his intelligence and kindness. Locals came to him for help and advice on difficult issues, most of whom were young men struggling with their faith. As someone who once struggled with believing in God, many thought his answers were brilliant and compelling, and he quickly became known to locals as the man who brought people back to the church. Because of how famous he was chosen to be the Bishop of Imus in 1982. Various reports tell us that he worked very hard to please the people who lived there, and his growing influence got him involved in planning one of the biggest events in the Catholic Church, the conclave. This was a special meeting of elders within the church to elect the next global leader, and that was where he met the current Pope Francis. Here's how it went. According to Luis, the person we know today as Pope Francis isn't what he was known by in 2005. You see, the name Pope Francis was more like a title he got when he was elected. Back then, he was known as Archbishop Jorge Mario Bergoglio. One thing that brought them close when they first met was their shared love for theology and philosophy. Jorge, now known as Pope Francis, had studied both courses in San Miguel. Looking back, Luis points out that they had a deep passion for social justice. This passion was so deep that it caused them to clash with those who knew much more than them. Like himself, Jorge had also wrestled with his more devout parents on social justice, believing that while the Bible has strict rules on sensitive topics, it is also important to show love to those who refuse to obey them. They also had a shared passion for the poor, a passion they grew to accept not everyone had. April 19, 2005, was when the conclave came to an end, and it was also the day Luis had the pleasure of meeting Jorge for the first time. Though they didn't talk much, it was clear they had a lot in common, and this was most obvious during the 2005 Synod of Bishops. During this meeting, leading church bishops from around the world had the chance to share their views on various issues within the church, and throughout the meeting, as Luis recalled, nobody reflected his thoughts better than Jorge. It seemed they agreed with each other on everything, and that was when they grew from fellow servants of the church to lifelong friends. Luis mentioned a few moments they met each other in the years after, stating how much they learned from their encounters, and the little time he wished they had to hang out more. Ironically, that was the exact direction where his life was headed, as we shall see. Becoming the future pope. Today, many see Luis Tagle as the one who would lead after Pope Francis. In response, Luis made it clear that he chooses to focus more on the present by serving the people around him. As for whether he becomes the next pope, he leaves that for God to decide. For now, Luis believes he's better off focusing on the present instead, as ambitions like that can oftentimes be distracting. While explaining why people think this way, he recalled what life was like serving as a local bishop. While Luis was always praised and supported by the locals, one problem he always struggled with was properly expressing his thoughts whenever he spoke. Unlike most other leaders he knew, the bishop wasn't very good at expressing himself. Because of this, most of his best public and private talks came from several hours of writing. Luis was so good at this that he became a respected theologian, known for making the most difficult concepts easy to understand for the average person through his writings. This brought him so much fame that he was chosen to be the Archbishop of Manila, one of the highest positions in the Philippines Catholic Church. One thing many liked about his leadership was his approach to preaching what he believed. While the average preacher worked by telling people what they believed, Luis went for a more practical approach, believing the masses needed to be properly cared for before getting informed about the faith. This way, he believes, the faith can be more accessible and practical for those who don't believe it yet. This approach was very successful, bringing more people into the Philippines Catholic Church as time went by. Thanks to these efforts, Luis was promoted by Pope Benedict to the role of cardinal on November 24, 2012, and this was just the beginning. On February 28, 2013, after a few major struggles with his health, Pope Benedict stepped down from his role, leading to the next meeting of cardinals that would elect the next pope. Luis Tagle was one of the cardinals who voted that day, and thanks to his support and many others like him, his friend Jorge Bergoglio was elected as the new pope, now known to the world as Pope Francis. May 23, 2019, started a long streak of events that sparked the first rumors of Luis becoming the next pope, as he was elected president of the Global Confederation of Catholic Relief Organizations, commonly known as the Caritas Internationalis. Though Luis didn't speak much about how it happened, rumors indicate the vote difference was by a large margin, implying that many leaders in the Catholic Church are on his side. Although the job didn't last for long, things got even more interesting when Pope Francis and many elders in the magisterium appointed Luis as prefect of the Congregation for Evangelization of Peoples, an office known to many as the Red Pope. This gave him rulership over all missionary efforts in Asia and Africa, and he accepted his role officially on January 6, 2020. During that time, many people within the Catholic faith didn't agree with Pope Francis on a lot of the things he advocated, like blessing pride couples, directly addressing climate change, changing immigration policies, and allowing divorced Catholics to participate in sacraments. In response to this, from early 2021 till late 2024, Cardinal Luis encouraged all leaders to align with Pope Francis on these issues, believing the Catholic Church would only thrive when all leaders put aside their differences and cooperate, and then came the accusations. After his first open statement about this, many opposing Catholics and a few supporting Protestants found the Bishop Cardinal's statements repulsive, with some of them believing he was only doing this to secure his role as the next pope.
Pope Francis made a whirlwind visit to the revered Catholic shrine of Fatima in Portugal,
where Virgin Mary appeared to 3 shepherd children in 1917. They said she gave them 3 messages.
And a third secret more recently revealed to be the assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II, which happened on May 13, 1981.
As we approach the 110th anniversary of the apparitions of Our Lady of Fatima, the current global situation continues to push many to demand clearer explanations of the third secret of Fatima that she benevolently shared with the 3 young shepherds in 1917. With a clear understanding of his papal position in the midst of these prophecies, Pope Francis has finally revealed some truths about the third secret of Fatima. What is the significance of these truths to humanity's future? What significance do these papal revelations hold, and how can we respond to them? Join us in this video as we unravel everything you need to know.
On May the 13th, 1917, in Cova de Iria, 3 children were tending their flock of sheep when they witnessed the supernatural apparition of a beautiful young lady.
Lucia, Jacinta, and Francisco were given the Secrets of Fatima on July 13, 1917, but it was kept secret until July 1941, when Sister Lucia shared the first 2 secrets as directed by the bishop. Much later, Saint Lucia revealed the 3rd of the secrets that have led to various controversies since its release. Now the Pope has shared some profound revelations on the secrets to guide us on what is next. Before we delve into the details of what the Pope shared, let's explore some details about how the secrets came to be. Custodians of the Secrets of the Fatima. The secret of the Fatima was revealed to 3 children on the 13th of May in 1917. They were young shepherds of Aljustrel village, somewhere around Fatima in Portugal. While they tended some of their flocks at the Cova da Iria, they experienced something unusual. It was about noon. They had just finished reciting the rosary, and they decided to have a playtime building little stone houses. At the time, these 3 cousin shepherds were aged 10, 9, and, respectively. The first was Lucius de Jesus, and her cousins, Francisco and Jacinto. These 3 children had a spectacular experience when a great light suddenly appeared before them. It wasn't familiar, and they made to leave because the only thing their little minds could relate to it was that the bright light was lightning. Then again, another flash of light appeared in the clearing before them, and this time, a lady described as brighter than the sun appeared before them, just above a small holm oak. She had a white rosary hanging from her hands, and she began to speak to them. Now, what did she tell them? The lady wanted them to come to the Cova de Iria on every 13th day of the month for the next 5 months. The children went back in the first 3 months, but after they began sharing their experience of the lady's visit with others, they were believed to be telling lies. This made the mayor of Nova de Urem take them away in a bid to make them confess that they were lying. Outside the designated meeting site with the lady, they had another unexpected apparition while grazing their flock in Valinhos, another village about 500 meters from their village on August 19th.
The earliest known apparition of the Virgin Mary isn't quite an apparition at all, it's more a bilocation. Our Lady appeared while she was still living.
Subsequently, they returned to the Cova de Iria on the 13th of September and October. By the last visit, the news of the apparitions had spread, and about 70,000 people were present on the last day to experience the apparition with them. In the presence of the people, the lady told the children that she was Our Lady of the Rosary and requested that they build a chapel in her honor right on that site. This chapel was built and named the Chapel of the Apparitions and is still on the site. But did this happen on mere accounts of the children's experience? Absolutely not. Most people didn't believe them. At that time, about 30,000 people gathered to experience the apparition as the children claimed. This made the Blessed Lady promise the children that a miracle would happen the next month so that all who doubted would believe them. In fulfillment of this, after a rainy day, they saw the sun emerge behind the clouds like a disk, bright with various beautiful colors that were easy to look at, which was in itself a miracle, as no one can look at the sun shining with such intensity without it being a miracle. After this, it spun like a fireball as though it would fall to the ground for 10 minutes. This nearly unbelievable miracle was witnessed by thousands of people, and it became known as the miracle of the sun.
Everybody was saying that if the miracle did not happen, the whole family would die. And so he stayed home. He was afraid. And because he was afraid to die, he wasn't there when the miracle of the sun occurred.
These experiences led to the acceptance of the first, second, and third secrets of Fatima that the lady shared with the children. So, what were these secrets? You're about to find out. Unveiling the Secrets of Fatima. While 3 children received the secrets from the lady, only one of them was able to share what the lady said to them. Shortly after the apparition experience, something devastating happened in Fatima, leaving only Sister Lucia to recount the secrets that the lady had shared with her and her cousins. Francisco and Jacinta had died 1 year apart from each other due to the outbreak of the flu in Fatima. Although severely ill, Francisco spent most of his years after the vision offering his life as a penance to console the Lord, despite his health. Jacinta also suffered a similar fate as she spent her time praying and offering her sufferings for praying for peace in the world, the unsaved, and the Holy Father. When they died, in 1919 and 1920 respectively, Francisco was initially buried in the parish cemetery, and Jacinta was buried in her family tomb and later interred at the parish cemetery. By 1930, the Catholic Church declared that the miracle of the Son was worthy of belief. Later, in 1952, a tomb was prepared in the basilica at Cova da Iria, where they were buried to the right and left of the main altar respectively. They became beatified in 1979, and they were declared venerable by Pope John Paul II on the 13th of May, 1989. Lucia, on the other hand, survived the flu, and by 1921, she joined the College of Villar and was sent to Tuy. She made her confession as a nun on October 3, 1934. 7 years later, she wrote in her memoir, The Secret of the Fatima, that she received alongside her late cousins over 2 decades earlier. Now, let's look at the first secret. The first secret was a sea of fire that the lady showed them. It seemed to be beneath the earth, and she saw souls and demons in the fire. They were floating in the blazing fire like transparent burning embers. The flames of the fire made them rise into the air and fall back without weight, yet amidst shrieks and groans of pain. The souls had a human form, but the demons looked terrifying like unknown animals and were black yet transparent. She described the sight as terrifying. After this vision lasted, the lady made them know that there was something that could be done to save many souls from going to hell, for wars to end, and for peace to reign. She told them that this would happen if people stopped offending God, but if not, something worse would happen. Truly, the fulfillment of her requests marked the end of the First World War, which was currently raging at the time. The lady shared the second secret with the children, telling them to devote themselves to her immaculate heart. It made the children so happy knowing that her heart would be their refuge and lead them to God. They would often sing happily while picking wildflowers, calling on Sweet Mary to be their salvation, convert sinners, and save their souls from hell.
Buonasera.
As a leader of the Catholic Church, it is expected that the Pope upholds traditional church doctrine. But with Pope Francis, the case is different.
Francis is the first pope from the Americas, the first of his name, and more than any other pope in recent memory, has dedicated his life and ministry to the poor, the peripheral, and the forgotten.
As instead, he has been challenging and reforming these beliefs, an act that has earned him more hate, direct attacks, opposition, and backlash from the leadership of the Church.
Protecting a pope who wants to be accessible to the public is never an easy task. Unlike other world leaders who are very conscious of their threat, the Pope feels that it's part of his mission to be a man of the people, especially this Pope.
Pope Francis, as we all know, is undoubtedly one of the most controversial popes in history who isn't scared of shaking things up in the Church.
His Holiness Pope Francis of the Vatican, the first pope in history to travel to Bahrain.
قداسة البابا فرانسيس بابا الفاتيكان, His Holiness Pope Francis of the Vatican.
His attempt and approach towards the Church Reformation have been so outlandish that, at some point, his beliefs were questioned, and he was heavily accused of being heretic. Newsflash, he's at it again. As in a recent event, he was found making some really terrifying revelations about Jesus and the Bible. What did he say, and why is it raising this much dust in the Christian community? Let's find out. Pope Francis and the controversies surrounding him, On May 21, 2018, Juan Carlos Cruz, a courageous whistleblower who was a victim of Chile's shocking clergy sexism.
I have come back in time to reveal the events of the future!
The Simpsons has predicted some major historical events and some completely random things like this.
Do you care who the next president is? No. Come with me.
As we enter 2025, global headlines are dominated by unsettling news about Pope Francis's fragile condition and prolonged hospitalization, intensifying worldwide anxiety. Amid these somber times, The Simpsons emerges as an unlikely oracle, having repeatedly predicted events that mirror our current reality. With satirical precision, the show has forecast everything from political reversals to technological breakthroughs. One particularly chilling prediction involves the untimely demise of a pope, a storyline that now rings disturbingly true: Trump's return. Few moments in The Simpsons' history have generated as much buzz as the prophetic twist in the episode Bart to the Future. Originally aired in 2000, the episode humorously envisioned a future where Donald Trump and his tumultuous populist leadership came to power.
Picture going around online this month. It claims to show a screenshot of a 2002 episode of The Simpsons that eerily mirrors real-life events. It shows Donald Trump touching a glowing orb with two Middle Eastern-looking men. Well, last month, President Trump did just that with the King of Saudi Arabia and the President of Egypt.
At the time, the storyline was pure satire. However, when Trump's election in 2016 and his subsequent return to office in January 2025 turned the narrative into reality, the prediction's impact was nothing short of astonishing. In Bart to the Future, viewers are introduced to a dystopic vision of America marked by chaotic fiscal policies, public disillusionment, and widespread governmental dysfunction, all hallmarks of Trump's presidency. The episode uses razor-sharp wit to underscore the absurdity of contemporary politics, offering a hyperbolic glimpse at America's struggles with economic collapse, contentious policy decisions, and an ever-deepening political divide. As 2025 unfolds, the reality of Trump's second coming reinforces the idea that what was once dismissible comedy now mirrors our political landscape with an unsettling degree of accuracy. Moreover, the episode's mix of ironic humor and stark social commentary underscores a deeper truth: that political satire, regardless of its exaggeration, often contains elements that later crystallize into real-world events. Bart to the Future serves as both entertainment and a cultural wake-up call, reminding us how the whimsical predictions of a cartoon can closely parallel the tumult of modern democracies. The Simpsons, through this episode, force us to examine the volatile nature of political power and the profound consequences that can ensue when theory and reality converge. The virtual reality revolution. In a striking forecast of technological advancements, the episode Future Visions presents a future where immersive virtual reality is part of everyday life. Originally conceived as a playful exploration of how technology might radically reshape human experience, the episode introduces viewers to a revolutionary virtual reality headset that allows users to transcend physical boundaries and interact with digital worlds. This satirical glimpse into the future bears an uncanny resemblance to the modern Apple Vision Pro, which now enables a seamless blend of augmented and virtual reality. Future Visions is not just a flight of fancy, it is a commentary on the transformative potential of technology. By imagining a world where virtual landscapes are as vivid and real as physical ones, the episode compelled viewers to reconsider the nature of human interaction and entertainment. Today, as cutting-edge VR and AR devices redefine how we work, learn, and play, the parallels with the episode become increasingly apparent. The Simpsons' prediction resonates with those witnessing the growing trend of digital immersion, influencing everything from education and remote work to how we socialize in an age dominated by digital connectivity. As virtual experiences continue to proliferate, Future Visions stands as a testament to the prescient creativity of The Simpsons writers. Their vision of a world where geographical boundaries dissolve in favor of digital freedom reminds us that technological progress often outpaces our expectations. This prediction not only underscores the evolution of consumer tech, but also cautions us about the social implications of losing touch with physical reality. It challenges viewers to balance the allure of the digital world with the need for genuine human connection, a duality that remains integral to understanding where our future is headed. Holographic communication. While BART to the Future is best known for its political prophecy, it also includes an early glimpse into the future of communication through holography. In one memorable scene, Bart receives a holographic message that transcends the limitations of traditional screens and phone calls. The episode envisions a world where holograms become the primary medium for interaction, replacing two-dimensional displays with fully immersive, three-dimensional projections that make communication more lifelike and personal. This prediction is particularly striking when compared to today's emerging holographic technologies. With companies like Microsoft and Meta investing heavily in mixed reality, the concept of hologram-based communication is rapidly moving from science fiction to reality. The idea of swapping out your smartphone for a device that projects full-color, interactive images in mid-air not only excites tech enthusiasts, but also hints at a future where virtual and physical experiences merge seamlessly. The Simpsons' portrayal of holographic communication in BART to the Future is a vivid illustration of how technology can transform the way we connect. By imagining a future where conversations are as vivid as live interactions, the episode challenges us to reimagine the very nature of presence and interaction in a digital age. This prediction serves as both inspiration and a gentle caution. While the tech promises to bring us closer, it also raises crucial questions about privacy, data security, and the authenticity of our mediated relationships. In this way, The Simpsons not only forecast technological advancements, but also invite us to reflect on their broader societal implications. Hovercars, urban mobility redefined. Hovercars have long been a staple of futuristic visions, and The Simpsons knew how to capture this dream with whimsical precision in the episode Sky High Springfield. In this imaginative installment, Bart and Lisa traverse the skies of Springfield in sleek, hovering vehicles, a scenario that, at the time, seemed like nothing more than far-fetched comedy.
Eastern Airlines presents The World of Tomorrow. Don't walk, fly.
Yet today, advancements in aerospace engineering and urban air mobility have made the once impossible dream increasingly attainable. Sky High Springfield is a delightful blend of fantasy and foresight. The episode not only entertains viewers with high-flying antics, but also challenges us to envision a future where traditional roadways become obsolete. Pioneering companies and tech visionaries, inspired by the concepts showcased in the episode, are actively working on prototypes and systems that could revolutionize urban transportation. Elon Musk and innovative startups have hinted at technologies that might enable flying automobiles within the next few years, blurring the line between science fiction and reality. The portrayal of hovercars in Sky High Springfield resonates as both an aspirational dream and a commentary on human ingenuity. It encourages us to push the boundaries of current technology while acknowledging the practical challenges, such as infrastructure development, air traffic control, and regulatory hurdles that must be overcome to realize such a future. As we approach 2025, the ideas presented in this Simpsons episode serve as a powerful reminder of our species' relentless pursuit of progress, even when that progress seems as outlandish as floating through the skies in synchronized flight. Self-driving car malfunctions. Autonomous vehicles have emerged as an area where optimism and caution often stand side by side. In the episode The Days of Future, The Simpsons explore the quirky pitfalls of self-driving cars through a series of humorous yet unsettling scenarios.
Hey, Look, nobody's driving.
Never seen. Relax, everybody. The Navitron auto drive system is driving the truck for me.
The plot centers on a self-driving car that spectacularly malfunctions, refusing to halt for a desperate passenger or making erratic decisions that highlight just how unpredictable automated technology can be. This particular segment of the show is both hilarious and prescient, accurately reflecting the current state of autonomous vehicle technology. Despite significant advancements by companies like Tesla, Waymo, and other innovators pushing the automation envelope, real-life incidents continue to raise concerns about reliability and safety. The Simpsons' portrayal of technological glitches in the days of future serves as a reminder that even the most advanced systems have their imperfections. The episode encapsulates the broader societal anxiety associated with ceding control to artificial intelligence. In its blend of slapstick humor and cold caution, The Days of Future encourages us to scrutinize the rapid adoption of self-driving technology. The narrative suggests that while automation promises a future of convenience and efficiency, it also requires rigorous safeguards, ethical considerations, and constant oversight to avoid potentially disastrous outcomes. As we witness the gradual integration of autonomous cars into everyday life, this Simpsons prediction stands as both a warning and an invitation to engage critically with emerging technologies. Solar-powered vehicles. Long before sustainable energy became a global mandate, The Simpsons already envisioned an eco-friendly future in the episode Path to Glory. In this inventive installment, Lisa Simpson creates a solar-powered car for an alternative energy race. However, in a humorous twist, her project is compromised when a massive Duff Banner plane inadvertently blocks the sun, rendering the vehicle powerless.
Dad, I'm so excited! Hey, please don't stand so close. In the world of solar power, shadows are the arch enemy!
This subplot is not only entertaining, it's also a prescient commentary on the challenges facing renewable energy technologies that depend on unpredictable natural resources. Today, solar-powered vehicles are transitioning from the realm of speculative fiction to practical development. With governments and corporations investing billions in clean energy, the dream of a fully solar-powered transportation system has never been closer. Path to Glory captures the optimism and the potential pitfalls of this technological revolution. It serves as a reminder that while renewable energy offers an exciting alternative to fossil fuels, real-world applications must contend with variables such as weather, efficiency, and infrastructure constraints. The episode's humorous take on solar vehicle failure underscores a broader truth. Technological innovation is often a mixed bag of breakthroughs and setbacks. As solar cars edge toward commercial viability, designers and engineers continue to refine their models in anticipation of a future where cleaner, sustainable transportation is the norm. In this way, The Simpsons not only forecast a major technological trend, but also provide a platform for discussing the practical challenges that accompany revolutionary ideas. Papal Prophecy. In the episode Papal Prophecy, The Simpsons boldly ventured into a storyline involving the declining health and eventual passing of a beloved pope. The narrative portrays a frail pontiff struggling with illness before succumbing, triggering a global spiritual crisis. While initially intended as dark satire, this episode feels eerily relevant today in light of Pope Francis's current health struggles. Reports of his hospitalization, pneumonia diagnosis, and slow recovery have sparked significant concern worldwide, mirroring the somber tones of the episode. In Papal Prophecy, the show also explores the aftermath of such a loss, depicting the Vatican in chaos and millions of people mourning the passing of a spiritual leader. The episode underscores how the death of a pope could destabilize the Catholic Church, leaving a leadership vacuum and unsettling millions of followers. The storyline, though exaggerated for comedic effect, raises thought-provoking questions about the fragility of institutions and the impact of losing a global figurehead. Today, with Pope Francis resting in a hospital wing and the Vatican providing sparse updates, the parallels between reality and The Simpsons' fictional narrative are striking.
Pope Francis has now spent an entire week in Rome's Gemelli Hospital receiving treatment for double pneumonia.
The prediction serves as a chilling reminder of the show's uncanny ability to reflect real-world anxieties, leaving fans wondering if the writers of The Simpsons somehow foresaw this moment in history. Whether coincidence or calculated satire, papal prophecy adds another layer to the show's reputation for eerily accurate predictions. Economic collapse and fiscal turbulence. Economic instability is a recurring theme in The Simpsons, and nowhere is it more starkly portrayed than in Treehouse of Horror 9. In this darkly comedic episode, the narrative depicts a total collapse of Springfield's economy, leading to a cascade of financial mismanagement, unemployment, and widespread despair. Homer's precarious job at the nuclear power plant becomes emblematic of a larger systemic failure, one that mirrors the real-world economic volatility we often witness in global markets. The Simpsons' depiction of fiscal collapse strikes a particularly resonant chord in 2025, a time when many nations are grappling with inflation, mounting debt, and unpredictable market fluctuations. Treehouse of Horror 9 uses biting satire to point out that economic systems, no matter how robust they seem, are vulnerable to a series of miscalculations and external shocks.
We're broke. The country is broke? How can that be? Well, remember when the last administration decided to invest in our nation's children? Big mistake.
The episode's portrayal of economic chaos is not merely intended for comic relief. It also serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of overextension and inadequate regulatory oversight. AI taking over jobs. In the episode The Devil's Dismissal, featured as part of a Treehouse of Horror segment, The Simpsons take aim at the rising influence of artificial intelligence in the workforce. In a hilariously grim twist, Homer and his colleagues are suddenly replaced by efficient, impersonal machines, leading to job losses and social upheaval.
Ladies and gentlemen, meet the future masters of the human race.
Comic-Con nerds!
You fool, these are robots. You will train them, and they will replace you.
This segment brilliantly encapsulates the growing anxiety that automation and AI might render human labor obsolete, an issue that has only become more relevant as AI-driven technologies advance at breakneck speed. Even as AI promises to revolutionize productivity, The Simpsons' nightmarish scenario in The Devil's Dismissal serves as a timely warning about the consequences of unchecked technological progress. Today, from manufacturing to service industries, technology is disrupting traditional employment models. The episode's portrayal of a workplace transformed by ruthless automation forces us to consider the ethical and social ramifications of replacing human workers with machines. It underscores the need for robust policies that safeguard human dignity in the age of digital transformation, while ensuring the benefits of technological innovation are equitably shared. By exaggerating the impact of AI in a way that is both humorous and tragic, The Simpsons challenge us to confront the realities of a rapidly evolving job market. Their narrative reminds us that while AI can drive efficiency and innovation, it also requires us to redefine our roles as workers and citizens in an increasingly automated world. The cautionary tale woven into The Devil's Dismissal is an essential piece of the broader conversation about the future of work in 2025. Cryptocurrency takes center stage. In a striking departure from traditional currency systems, the episode Lisa's Presidency offers a daring vision of the future where cryptocurrency becomes the backbone of the national economy. In this narrative twist, a financially beleaguered nation is revealed to have its economic stability secured by Bitcoin, effectively replacing traditional money with digital currency. At a time when the world is witnessing the profound impact of blockchain technology on finance, this prediction hardly seems far-fetched. Lisa's Presidency taps into both the excitement and the uncertainty surrounding emerging digital currencies. The episode predicts that cryptocurrencies, once deemed a futuristic novelty, will transform global financial systems by providing unprecedented levels of decentralization and transparency. In 2025, as more governments and corporations explore digital currencies and the infrastructure around them becomes increasingly robust, the Simpsons' vision is fast becoming a reality. However, the narrative also raises important questions about volatility, regulation, and security, concerns that continue to populate discussions in financial circles today. The foresight exhibited in Lisa's presidency is a testament to the creative genius of The Simpsons, who managed to capture the zeitgeist of a financial revolution years before it began. By imagining a future built on cryptocurrency, the show not only entertains, but also sparks thoughtful debate on the evolving nature of money and economic governance. As cryptocurrencies gain traction and governments explore the feasibility of national digital currencies, this prediction stands as an enduring symbol of The Simpsons' uncanny ability to foresee trends that would reshape our world. California fires. We're starting off with the January 2025 California fires that have been a frightening reality for people around the world. Strangely, it seems The Simpsons saw it coming years ago. In Season 18, Episode 12, titled Little Big Girl, Springfield faces a raging forest fire that threatens the entire town. What makes this episode stand out? Bart starts the fire during one of his mischievous pranks. What begins as a harmless joke quickly turns into chaos, with flames spreading uncontrollably. The fire destroys homes